Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome, everybody, to I'll Hang Up and Listen. I am Duane, the host of Two Goalies, One Mike, here for a third time in a row for you to report that the Sabres have lost, this time 4-2 to the Winnipeg Jets. A very good Winnipeg Jets with their starting goaltender, Connor Hellebuyck, one of the best goalies in the world, in net tonight, who played very well. But, you know, I'll give credit where credit is due, but I'm not going to give him too much credit, because it took Buffalo a while to get going in this one. Very bland, and they looked uneasy for the most part. They were just just another game where you have a lot of defensive zone, miscues, just, mental lapses. It just seemed they were trying to force plays that just weren't there. There was a play in the first period. It was minuscule, but Darlene tried to make like a 50-foot pass to Tage Thompson in a 5-on-5 during 5-on-5 play that honestly just wasn't there. Forced the pass and got picked off. Puck went transitioned up the ice. And there's another play where led to like two or three great scoring opportunities for Winnipeg, where Jokiharju just could not complete a very basic D-to-D pass to Owen Power. Threw the puck too far behind him. Owen couldn't, or too far behind or too far in from him. Owen couldn't make the adjustment in time, and play comes into our zone, and it led to, like I said, like two or three very solid big-time goal scoring chances. And then I'm so just done with Henry Jokiharju. The kid just flat out does not have what it takes to be a consistent NHL contributing defenseman. He's too soft, too many mental mistakes. Today, again, 2 goals where he's just in front, just looking around. The one from the shot far out top at the point, I think the Morrissey shot, he had every opportunity to move his man out of the way, and he just played very soft on it, didn't touch him, and UPL never saw the shot come through. Couldn't see it. I mean, that's your man, Joker. Like, get on him, move him. Like, what are you doing? Like, fuck's sake. And again, Buffalo just really didn't get things going. The special teams was, essentially non-existent for them tonight. That one goal from the second goal from Olofsson, I believe that happened after the penalty expired, with their second unit out there. I made comments to friend of the program, Kyle Quick, about the first unit. While I have no issue with that first unit, but they've only scored 5 times, now 5 times in the last 3 games. Going from, the top scoring team in the NHL for almost a month and a half to only scoring 5 and 3, maybe shake things up there. I would have maybe moved Olofsson to that opposite side to free up Tage more. It's such a deadly weapon to have 2 shots like that on your team, and maybe utilize them both on that first unit, because they were sticking pretty hard to Tage, not giving that, that shot up that he loves to take so much from that face-off dot. That's near impossible for any goalie to stop. Maybe line up Olofsson on the opposite side and just make teams pick and choose a side, which side to cheat to. It's hard to, and you can't, because they both have an absolute hammer from, each respected side. So for me, I would have liked to have seen that. Another thing I would have liked to have seen is maybe reward Peyton Krebs a bit. He's been playing very well down that bottom line with Gergensen to Okposo. Maybe give him an opportunity up on that second line. The kids line has not been clicking. Paterka, Quinn, and Cousins. Like, shake things up there a bit, And, you're not trying to punish a player on that second line. At the same time, you're trying to reward somebody for, performing very well and turning his game around. I would have liked to have seen Peyton Krebs, at least in this game at some point, up on that second line. If I don't know if he did or if it was or wasn't, if Granado did shake things up, but reward the kid. He's been playing very well. Give him some second line minutes with some speed out there and see what happens. Tonight you needed it. When you came back, you tied it twice. You couldn't hold on for very long. You almost gave the next goal almost immediately. Try something different there. I would leave the first line alone, but I think tonight was a glaring example of when that first line isn't clicking, that you're dead in the water, essentially. Because, it was nice to get 2 goals from that third line, but you need all lines clicking every night. In a perfect world that happens, right? But it's an imperfect world, and it's not going to. But consistently, when you live and die by Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, and Jeff Skinner, I'm sorry, you're just not going to consistently win as much as you'd like to. You're going to go through lapses like this now 3 in a row. Let's hope we don't end up, we don't beat the previous 8 in a row from earlier this season. But, the one thing I will say is these games weren't as miserable in this losing skid as they were in that one, because those games were a little miserable. These ones, at least there's compete level there. There's opportunities. They're just not finishing chances, puck luck. But at the end of the day, defensive zone coverage is really, really, really killing them. Really killing them. And I think it's, again, I was having a conversation via text with a friend of mine, Brett, about half an hour ago, and I was saying, don't expect Kevin Adams to sell the farm to bring in help now. I wouldn't see that happening. And I tend to agree, even though I want to see, go get a guy like Joel Edmondson out of Montreal. I don't think it costs you a ton. You have 3 second-round draft picks in this next draft. He's a guy 6'5", has another year left on his deal. He's very cheap, and maybe he is Owen Power's version of Samuelson. You never know. He's a former second-round pick. Guy's a fucking tank. Plays with some edge and some grit, which those are the buzzwords everybody loves. But he's a stay-at-home guy who will allow a guy like Owen Power to thrive and flourish offensively the way Dahlin has been this season with Samuelson. So I that's just my ask there is, in terms of if you're going to add to this team, like a guy like Edmondson, another stay-at-home guy on that second line that really shores up your top 4 defensemen, because Henry Jokiharju isn't getting it done. Cal Clegg wasn't playing terrible with Owen Power, but he's not a legitimate top 4 defenseman. And Jacob Bryson is a 7th man. He is a plug-and-go guy when you have an injury or somebody needs a night off. But that's the extent of what he offers to this team. We have a lot of comments here in the peanut gallery. Let's get to them right now. Mauricio, second line looks lost, disconnected, unengaged, and disinterested. I agree with you, but it does. I wouldn't say disinterested. It's just part of that sometimes is puck luck, but at the end of the day, things just seem to be clicking. Pucks aren't bouncing their way. They did have a couple opportunities tonight, but again, I am all for rewarding Peyton Krebs and give him an opportunity down that line. I wouldn't say you're demoting a guy. You're just rewarding another guy. So Dahlin and Power are forcing pucks offensively, misguided pass, telegraph, unnecessary force passes. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. In offensive zone when there is no passing lane. They're passing, causing too many off rush. I agree with you. Excuse me. It's been a long day. And that game did bore me a little bit. Yeah, I 100% agree with you, bud. All night long, Hellebuck saw the puck, no rebounds, no deflections, no one in front of the net for garbage goals, no force to get dirty goal. Yeah, I agree. Every one of your points, all spot on, 100%. You got to get into those dirty areas. That goal that was fished out to Olsen at the top of the slot, Middlestat dug behind the net, got into a dirty area and got the puck out front, and Olsen there was to finish the play. Those are the types of plays not everything isn't always going to be pretty. Winnipeg Jets has. I don't know. God, but fucking damn it. Yep, you're not wrong. Winnipeg Jets forwards too many odd man rushes, 2-on-2, 1-on-1 and 3, 2-on-1 and 3. Sorry, on 2 defensive strategies. Needs to focus on back checking. Winnipeg could have scored more goals. All 4 lines are disconnected to defense core. Again, I don't disagree with you, bud. He is all up in the chat today. I love him, Mauricio. Here we go again. 18 game. I'm not gonna. No, not this team. It starts with 1, 2, 3 losses in a row. All I hear is apologies, excuses, and moral victories. Same old Sabres loser mentality until they go on to like a 7-2 heater, 7-3 heater, and then your outlook changes on it. What if they win the next 7 in a row? But no, I don't disagree with you. You know, you don't want the same old Sabres. I don't think this team, it's in their DNA to allow what happened to them, what happened for the most part under thou who shall not be named. Mental lapses, defensive miscues, forcing pucks, poor puck management. Nobody wants to push out large bodies in front of UPL. We lack physicality, including Bryce and Yoki Haru. I mean, I think Dahlin and Power use their size well enough, but Yoki Haru has been the biggest issue, in my opinion, since he's come back. You know, you can call some things rust, but not taking your man in front, not being physical, that's not rust, man. That's just being a soft defenseman, and that's what he is. Why do I feel this is the 18-19 season all over again? Please, no. I cannot stand. I refuse to put myself through another one of those midseason meltdowns. I will not do it. I will not put myself through it. Absolutely not. None of us deserve that, especially with this team. And I don't think they're going to do that to us. I really don't. I truly, in my heart, believe this team won't put us through that. No. Why is Hinnistros and Asplund on a roster and they're not playing? Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to give guys nights off, but Vinny doesn't have that same jump this season that he showed a lot last year. Maybe that's obviously why he's out of the lineup a lot, but I would say like the jump that you're hoping he adds to the play, he hasn't been adding it, in my opinion. And I can do without him right now. Like, you know, I would not be upset tomorrow morning if we found out he got waived. You know, that's just me. I would like to see Adams get off his ass and get a defenseman. Wouldn't we all? And I said at the top of the show, a guy like Joel Edmondson from out of Montreal, a team who's literally selling everything right now to be in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. That would be a great fit here in Buffalo. I really do believe it. 18 game lose. I'm not reading all that. I'm not reading it. Not reading it. Change up the lineups, balance, shake it up. I agree. Shake up the lineup a bit. Everything but that top line, because that top line, you know, they don't have many nights like this where they're not clicking. I wouldn't touch that top line, but the bottom 3, yes, start shaking things up because you need more depth scoring, and you're just not getting it consistently enough. Duane, a loss is a loss. Losing streaks 8 games or 18 games or 3 games going on 12 years mentality. Playoffs, Quinn and Paterka scrubs. Hinnistros and Asplund are a bag of stale donuts. I like that analogy, bag of stale donuts. That actually is a pretty good analogy. Tage in a slump, and it's debilitating. Every player, sorry, I have something stuck in my tooth. Every player is going to, have a slump here or there. I mean, not everybody is going to be Connor McDavid, but I wouldn't call right now what Tage is going through a slump. A slump is much longer than 3 games. And I want to say he scored once in the last 3 games, right? Did he not have a goal in the last game? I think he did. I can't remember. Oh, excuse me, guys. I keep yawning. It's inappropriate. Sorry. Why doesn't Coach Granato listen to my insights? We got to get you on their post-game, bud. Defense is not being physical in our own zone and just letting Winnipeg Jets crash and that cost you the game, and Connor Hellebuyck not getting challenged is a no-no. I agree. You know, he saw way too many pucks tonight. The Sabres made it way too easy, and I said earlier, I'm willing to give credit where credit is due. Hellebuyck played well, but we didn't really make it difficult for him. You know, they made it difficult for UPL tonight. He had a lot of bodies in front of him. He had a lot of traffic in front of him. 2 of those goals that he did literally not see at all. So for me, I just, what are you going to do? You got to get bodies in the net. You have to. You got to obstruct the goaltender. You got to get Hellebuck off his game by getting in his face. 100% agree with you, Chris. 100%. One thing I heard was that Winnipeg is a big team who uses physicality. We have a big team, but it seems that they are not a great physical team, playing too soft aside from Tuck's hit. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to take a big hit for you to play physical either. Like, a couple jabs, not saying full-on cross checks, but you're in front of the net. Give them a little bit of business. Maybe a couple small hacks at the shins. Nothing crazy that refs probably aren't going to call that normally. But just get physical with them. Make them feel discomfortable by standing in front of the net. Don't give these guys free rein in front of your goaltender. That's garbage. This is the second game in a row you've done it. It's absolute garbage, man. It's going to be the downfall of this hockey team. I'm telling you. It's not going to be goaltending. It is not going to be goaltending. It is going to be the lack of awareness in front of your own net. That is what's going to be the downfall of this hockey team unless you fix it right now. No excuses for these slow starts. Granado needs to get in some girls. I 100% agree. Maybe a bag skate is in the works. I don't know, but you can't start slow like this anymore. A great defense partner would have been Mark Pysyk. I mean, I didn't hate Mark Pysyk. He's a good locker room guy. Not a top 4 guy, I don't think. Stay at home with a little bit of offensive flair, I guess, every once in a while. Played some winger in his time, but I don't think losing Mark Pysyk was, a terrible, terrible move by Adams. I understand wanting to build with your youth to see what you have there and let them grow, but staying stagnant right now is literally costing you games. You have a lot of draft capital. You've had 5 first-round draft picks in the last 2 years. You have 3 second-round picks in this year's draft alone. And I even said, a guy like Joel Edmondson might cost you a second, and I'm not against that. I'm not against that. He's on a very cheap deal, and you had 1 more year of him. And he's not old. He's 29 years old. I think he'd be a good fit. 6'5", a guy who's going to play hard in front of his net. Has a heavy shot. I like that idea, because I think Jacob Chychrun, now the more and more you think about every day, I just really think it's unrealistic that Kevin Adams gives up those kind of assets for a player on this team right now. Maybe a year or 2 from now, you could be talking about that, but I don't think on this team, Kevin Adams view this is the right time to make that Chychrun deal. We need better quality defense. Trade Yoki and Bryson for 24 Buffalo chicken wings. I don't disagree with you, bud. Don't disagree with you. Erica Branson. I love Erica Branson. I would love, again, another big guy who plays a heavy game. I would love. His name is his game is as heavy as his name. I like that idea. 100%. We'll go over the box score here real quick. Victor Olofsson tonight with a goal and assist, a very good game. Had his 16th goal of the season. Assist to Darlene Jokiharju, goal to Tyson Yost, and an assist to Casey Middlestat, with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen making 23 saves on 26 shots. I wasn't a huge fan of the first goal, even though there was a screen. It was on a very soft angle, but I'm not going to write a letter about it, even though I'm sure many Sabres fans will, because that's their number one pastime. Is when a goalie lets in a soft goal to make sure we all tweet or post about it. And, if he has another game like this, I'm sure you all be demanding that he goes down to Rochester. Not that he even had a bad game, but he got a great saves. But that's usually how the fan base in Buffalo works. If goalie, loses a few in a row, time to pack your shit and leave, right? So I don't know. We'll see. For the Jets, goals coming from Kyle Connor, goal and assist. Nikolai Ehlers, once rumored to be offered to the Sabres for Rasmus Stalainen. Thank you. Who would that have been? Was it Jason Botterill? Thank you, Jason Botterill. 2 assists for him. DeMello with an assist. Dylan with an assist. Kuhlman with a goal. Morrissey with a goal, jumping into second place for points for defensemen. And leading off the scoring was Sandberg, and then Nate Schmidt with an assist as well. And Connor Hellebuck making 39 saves on 41 shots against. But again, like as you see that those 41 shots against, he didn't have to make a ton of difficult saves. There were a couple in there where he had to get athletic and make a few big saves. But for the most part, Buffalo until the very end, I would say for maybe 10 minutes of that game made it hard for Connor Hellebuck. It can't be like that. All game long, you have, especially a goaltender of his athleticism and his ability, you have to get on his case early. You have to. That's where you want a guy like more guys like Jeff Skinner who are willing to get into those dirty areas in the ice and get in the goalie's grill. We don't have enough guys like that, in my opinion. Chris Dirk, defenseman Mike Raleigh, and Nikita Zaitsev, when they were placed on waivers earlier in the season, I said, I know they are not the greatest, but they got to be better than Bryson Jokic. I agree. Riley was a head scratcher. I did not understand that. I didn't understand them not claiming Vrana. Another one. I don't know if they're being limited to what they're allowed to do, what their money they're allowed to spend. I don't know. But there are, free players out there essentially when they go on waivers. And I don't really understand why you don't make a move on them. That's a player you don't have to give up assets to get him. You claim them off waivers. So I don't know. To me, that's confusing. And got a couple of those names are guys I think that would contribute well to Buffalo. There's much like Tyson Yost did. Tyson Yost is he is contributing the goal and assist tonight. I think did he have a goal and assist tonight? I believe he did. Goal and an assist. No, just a goal. But still, he's played very well since being claimed by Adams in a bottom six role. Very well. He's serving his purpose. But, you need more consistency out of your bottom three lines, and you're just not getting it, especially right now with the kids line. Again, I think one way to solve that, and I hope Granato makes that move and pulls the trigger, award Peyton Krebs. Get him up on that second line with some minutes with the kid line. Award him because he deserves it. Adams is chicken shit, not willing to trade for A-plus players defensive core. Again, it's not that I don't think he's willing to. I think maybe he's being told not to. And would it be great to see a deal made to shake things up here? Absolutely. Are the Sabres in a position right now tonight where you can justify making that move? I don't know. Talk to me in a month. See where this team is at a month, and then you can justify a move like that. But right now, I'm very 50-50 with it after this 3 losses in a row. Three games ago, I was all about it. Because it's like, let's not waste this. Let's bring somebody in to help shore up this blue line and stop these mental errors in our own end. That guys that are going to play physical and, keep it simple in their own end. I don't know. Going ahead with the Sabres schedule right now, that I don't know if that means they fall to 20-18-2 or if it's 20-19-2 now after that. A record of 27-14-1 for the Winnipeg Jets. So Sabres schedule coming up after tonight's loss to the Winnipeg Jets. Next game is in Nashville on the 14th at 8 p.m. And then after that, I believe it's a Saturday night game. I want to say, give me one moment here. I believe it's a Saturday game. Florida, who is struggling this season. So that both that Nashville and that Florida game, and a lot of these games seem to be also broadcast on ESPN Plus, but I don't think they're primetime games. Anyway, and then obviously Ryan Miller night is on its way next week against the Islanders, a game I will be in attendance with producer Steve and my buddy Mike. Excited to go to that game and honor one of the greatest Sabres of all time, and Ryan Miller. Should be a lot of fun. So I already got I got a Ryan Miller plaque. I forget where I stuck it. My cousin, who was a season ticket holder, gave it to me. He said he, didn't really have much, he didn't have use for it, but he thought, it would mean more to me, which I agree. As much as I loved watching Dominic Hasek growing up, Ryan Miller was such a treat to watch in his time in Buffalo. So it'll be fun. Something to look forward to next week against, again, the New York Islanders. I'm sure there'll be a lot of former Sabres alumni, guys like maybe Briere, maybe Brian Campbell. I'm just naming off names. I'm sure Derek Roy will be in town. I know Clint Malarchuk and Donnie Edwards were in town tonight. It was a good interview from Clint. in between periods of Baran and Duff, former two-time guest of Two Goalies, One Mike. Always a treat to talk to Clint. He's a good dude. Always sport a cowboy hat, and wrote a great book with a matter of inches. If you haven't read it yet, check it out. Great book. But again, something to look forward to next week. They really need to reevaluate yourself in the next 2 days and try and get themselves back on the winning track here. Falling again to 20-18-2 with this loss tonight. Heading into Nashville, I believe I want to say a struggling Nashville team. I don't believe they're. I know the Montreal Canadiens honored PK Subban while the Predators were in the house tonight. So and the Canadiens beat the Predators 4-3 on PK Subban night. Yeah, they're 19-16-6. So they're kind of right in the same kind of area as the Buffalo Sabres in the Central Division. Very similar record. I don't know. We'll see. I think that'll be a very even matchup in a game. Buffalo should absolutely win. We'll see who we get in that, if it's Saros or not. And then the following game being against, I believe, who did I say? Florida, Chicago, and then on the 19th, the Islanders, Ryan Miller night. And then I don't know why they see this I didn't understand. I don't understand and maybe it's a scheduling conflict with Ryan. Who knows? Maybe he has something going on. But 2 nights later, you have the Anaheim Ducks in Buffalo for a 12:30 game on a Saturday. Why would you not make it that game, seeing as he played with Anaheim for how many years, ended his career with Anaheim, set the all-time winningest goaltenders record for American-born goaltenders with Anaheim? You feel like that would be a layup. Maybe it's a scheduling thing. I don't know, but it's 2 nights later. I don't know why you wouldn't have Ryan Miller night be the night you play Anaheim at home. I think, it would, doing right by Ryan. But however, jersey retirement ceremonies aren't, exactly Buffalo's thing. Yeah, the last one we did with Rick Jenneret, they did that perfect. But the previous player they put up in the Raptors, Dominic Hasek, they threw up a brick on that one. It was terrible. I was in attendance and it was not good. So hopefully do right by Ryan, just like they did right by RJ. I hope. Let's see here. I think 2 defensemen puts this team in the playoffs. I don't disagree with you. I think you have the ability to score goals, even though it's kind of top heavy scoring on your first line. But if you shore your things up defensively, I really do think you can make a run at this and get into the playoffs. Duane the Pagula Circus says, let's sabotage season 12 years in a row missing playoffs. I mean, yeah, maybe. I guess. I'll be at Ryan Miller night. See you there. Hopefully his team turns it around before then. Yeah, Chris, I'm sure we will see each other there. Always a treat seeing you, bud. Good friend of the program, good friend of mine, Chris Durek there. Go check out his YouTube channel. With that being said, guys, I won't, bend your ears for too much longer. Just, again, a game where you started slow, a game you could have won, a game where you didn't play physical enough in front of either net. And that's what lost you the game tonight. Special teams, definitely a factor, your lack thereof, not being able to score in the multiple opportunities, including a 4-on-3 for like a minute that you had. I felt pretty good going into that, especially with Tage out there with some more open ice, that we'd find a way to put a puck in the net there, and we didn't. Special teams weren't rolling. Defensively, we looked off again. And just offensively, we weren't finishing our chances, weren't making it hard for Hellebuck, not getting bodies and not getting pucks to the net, in a dirty fashion. So, that's why you lost tonight. It's not for a lack of talent. It's for a lack of just doing simple things that you've been doing a lot this season that have been winning you hockey games. So I'll hang up and listen, guys. Thanks for hopping on with me. I do appreciate it. About 10 to 11 right now tonight, going into tomorrow night, Friday night. Hope you guys all enjoy your night. Remember, this is brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case over on Georgia Run Boulevard. Whenever you need a case of beer or another adult beverage on game night or game day, make sure you get over to Outlet Liquor for your Sabres and Bills party needs. I am Duane of Two Goalies, One Mic. I'll hang up and listen. Let's go Sabres. And go Bills.